Hello, everybody. Sorry for the white spot here in my on your right corner, my left corner. Sorry, your left corner as well. Um, I'm going to talk about the fish that's not biting so regularly these days. Oh, and my door is broken. I actually broke that. So let's not bother too much about that. But the Bliksemse fish won't bite. So the first thing I'd like to throw is a type of fluke. This is a black fluke. I throw this because it very well indicates a little baby bobble or baby catfish. In even some type of tilapia or anything like that here in South Africa, black flukes are, well, you can, wherever you throw them, there might be a bait fish in there that's going to look like this that bass does feed on. And you can throw them with a weight or weightless. So with a weight, it's going to come down, nose down, like this. And it's going to look like a fish that's popping up and feeding, popping up and feeding. Weightless, it's going to come down like this, and you work it a bit slower. And what it looks like, especially when it's twirling like this, is a fish that's dying. Now, I found out that in the summer this doesn't work that well. The weighted rig works a little bit better in the summer because there's not a lot of fish dying right now. It's baby fish that's around. So even this fluke is a little bit big. I'd rather go for a smaller fluke with a smaller rig just to mimic that tiny bait fish that's around at this stage because they are all babies at this stage. Then the second rig I'd like to throw is a little crankbait. Let me show you here. And when I say little, I mean teeny. This is a miniature crankbait. Here we go. So I would actually like to replace these hooks with just normal circle hooks or something. But I'm going to do that in the future. And this gives you two things. Number one, it rattles. Number two, you can race it across the water, find out where the bass is. Or if you know where the bass are, and you are on something like a dock or a boat or something like that, you can let it suspend in the water with sort of tight line, and then pop it a few times and let it suspend again, and pop it a few times and suspend it again, and pop it a few times, and basically just mimic that movement of a little bait fish. And because your line is already semi-tensioned, when a bass grabs onto this, he will hook himself. You don't need to set the hook. So that's a very good option for you if you want to get into that. And they're not, the small crankbaits are not that expensive. Another one I like to throw is a small, what do you call it, square bill crank. I just don't have one with me right now. It's actually my tackle box, which is on the other side of the property. Then the other thing I like to throw is a little worm like this, a little stick bait. So either I'm going to Ned rig it or I'm going to wacky rig it. So wacky rig is basically just taking a hook, and then we just show you guys, put it through there, and just like that. And then every time you pop it, it moves like that, like a worm trying to, move around in the water. It works quite well, and as you can see, that one is actually cut up because the worm that I bought is quite long, and for the dam I'm fishing at this moment, the fish aren't that big and the worms aren't that big. So, cut it up to the size of the bait that's around. You want to mimic what's in the dam that you are fishing. You don't want to mimic something that they don't know, because then you're not going to get a bite at all. Then something else I like to throw is a cut up swimworm. So I cut it up so that it's got a small body with a long tail. And this actually mimics baby bait fish quite well, especially something like a baby catfish, or as well tilapia and stuff like that, especially guppies and stuff like that. And then the long tail will actually move even just in a dam's current. If there's a light breeze in the water, that tail will move and get a reaction strike. Very good for you. It's a very good, lure that I'd like to use, and I actually caught a couple of bass on it. So that's the three type of lures that I like to throw at this time of year. There's another one that I like to throw when the bass are a little bit more fussy. That's a swim bait. I'm using at this moment soft plastic swim baits, but you can also use those segmented swim baits. they will work as well, because if your bass are fired up in the summertime, they are chasing around fish, they are chasing around the bait fish. My only advice on this would be to make sure that your swim bait isn't too large. Remember, we have a lot of baby fish around this time of year, and if you do have a too large bait on your rod, the bass might just skip it because it's easier to get to the smaller ones. So mimic what they are feeding on at this moment, and you're gonna get more bites. At the end of the day, you can throw, let's say, a jig for that big bass and only catch one fish a day, or you can throw a small worm, catch 20 to 30 fish a day, and within those 20 to 30 fish, you can still catch the record fish. But at least you're having fun the whole day. So I'd rather recommend going with a smaller lure than trying to get that big bass to bite the whole time and just getting frustrated with yourself and losing lures because of that. Also, another lure that I really like this time of year that I didn't bring with me is grubs. So it's just a little swimtail grub, black with a chartreuse tail, or just plain black with a long tail, or then just a normal pumpkin seed color for when you've got some clear water, a green pumpkin color. That's the type of grubs that I like to throw. And the only reason these grubs work well is when they are lying flat on the bottom, they look like a little worm or something. And when they are moving through the water, they look like a little fish swimming around. So they are mimicking two types of baits, giving you twice the chance of getting a bite. I've actually got 3 bags of that type of plastic baits in my tackle box at this moment, just because it works so well. Then I've got a lot of flukes, and then a lot of these little worms. And my reason for that is because it works so well. And then if you're a fisherman that likes to go night fishing, um, oh, one more that I forgot. Sorry about this. Spinner baits. You can never go wrong with a spinner bait, no matter what time of year it is. You can never go wrong with a spinner bait. I've always got one rigged up. At this moment, the one I've got rigged up is a green pumpkin and brown with black spots, black speckles. I've also got a black and red that's not rigged up at this moment, and a pure white for those days where the water is so murky you can't see a thing. These are the spinner baits that I like to throw, and these are usually the spinner baits with the little jig head and skirts that I like to throw. The reason I like to throw them better is they come through the grass much better, where with your other spinners, they tend to catch on grass and little sticks quite a lot, and especially with the amount of rain we've had these last couple of days, they're going to get caught quite a lot. I've lost quite a lot of those little spinners. The cheap little just blade spinner with the treble hook on the back. So I prefer the little jig head spinner with the one hook for that reason, and you get bigger fish when you throw them, so you can get them in different sizes as well. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're worth it. They don't get stuck, they don't get stuck as much. In fact, the only way you lose that spinnerbait is by wrapping it around a lock, or wrapping it around a fence or something like that. That's how I lost mine, is by wrapping it around a fence. Trying to throw alongside the bank, when taking my line, wrapping it around the fence, reeling it in too hard, and then snapping my line. But other than that, it just pops off the rocks, and you can keep on just reeling it in. And spinnerbaits are quite well in most of the conditions. That's just one that I've always got rigged up, no matter what condition it is. But I'll make a separate video for spinnerbaits, I think, in the future. I just wanted to show you guys what I'm throwing right now, to get the bites that I'm getting. And I'm fishing at a dam with not a lot of bass in it, too much catfish in it, and the carp is just destroying all of the bait, like the worms and stuff like that. So I mean, the carp here is actually feeding top water. That's how bad it is. So it's a really hard dam to fish this dam, but I'm still getting bites daily. So that's why I just said, okay, listen, let me make this video, show you guys what I'm catching with. But 90% of the times, I think you guys saw that it's either on a fluke or a spinnerbait that I'm actually catching the fish on. And that's why those two are always rigged up for me. The worms I like, especially when it's really hard. Then I go to this. This is my little backup worm. I need to buy more. I'm going to buy more. It's just a question of time. Um, but it's at the end of the day, you always have to look out for that. Um, but hopefully you guys can learn from this. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, um, and then keep an eye out. I'm going to be posting a few videos maybe this week of me fishing still at home. But at the end of this week, we are going on a little tour, myself and my wife, and I'm going to go fishing at a public place. Now, I'm not going to give away any locations at this point yet, but when we are done, I will post the videos and I will tell you guys where I fished, what I fished with, and I will then also tell you guys what my experience was like. See you guys next time. Have a nice day.